if you're not there in person, if you can be, or watching online, then I'm actually going to personally go over to Ben Davis's house. All right, I'm just going to beat the...
No! However, last episode we spoke about the Conor McGregor fight rumors against Logan Paul, and we actually received a tip from an anonymous source stating. So, I know everyone's very nervous right now, especially watching. This means a lot. So on the night of fight night, we're getting... Hello and welcome back to Misfits News. It is officially the new year. 2024 was great, but we are going to make 2025 even better. I'm still your same host as always, Ben the Bane Davis. And before we get into the latest and greatest news in crossover combat, I got to take it to the world's best co-host. Biel, how are you? Ben, I'm doing great. We're not going anywhere. It's a new year and we're here to stay. What a great new year it's been. What a great year it's been for Misfits News. I just want to actually take a moment, have a quick look back of what we've achieved this year. Welcome back to Misfits News. We've got a special guest lined up for today. Do we? Deji!
I was sitting on my couch looking at my fat stomach.
I actually really enjoyed the tag team match.
Snapper. That's nothing. Like, that's baby food.
Every time I see him, I just like him more and more. Like, he's actually like...
It's going to be crazy.
I mentioned the Costco guys again at a bar, and the people didn't know who I was talking about.
You are... Wow, what a montage! So much fun this year, but we've got an even bigger year ahead of us. But before I divulge, let me give you a rundown of today's topics. That being, we get some updates from Mams Taylor about Misfits 21. We get some exclusive insider knowledge about Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul fight. And Ben and I will be wrapping up this year by giving our own Misfits best moments. I love it. What an exciting episode. But let's start off with what the man himself, Mams Taylor, had to say. Now, we're aware that a lot of the fights originally scheduled for Misfits into Zone X Series 20 were moved to X Series 21, the KSI undercard, due to some budgetary issues. And that's all thanks to our guy, Tommy Fury. Now, Biel, as you know, when a card goes from pay-per-view to non-pay-per-view, that changes many things, including the budget, first and foremost. And that's why we've arrived at the X Series 20 card that we have now, which is a little, less star-studded than I think originally planned. But the one big positive is that, hey, there's a lot of unknown guys that can really announce themselves on January 18th. I was surprised this card even happened, because in the back of my mind, I was thought, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? It kept getting delayed. And I thought it's getting delayed for a reason. And Mams Taylor was able to pull it out the bag and put the fights on the table. And yes, it may be some new faces. Yes, it may not be the faces you were expecting. However, this is how we create storylines. This is how we start off a year when we reintroduce them later on down the year. And something exciting that we got confirmed from Mams Taylor now is on the night of fight night, we're getting the KSI announcement for March. That is the big news. January 18th, we learn who KSI is fighting. Will it be Amir Khan? Will it be Tommy Fury 2? Who knows? But that announcement will come during the X Series 20 broadcast. And we have a little bit more news, which is one of the original fights, right? Fox the G versus Waleed Sharks, as many of you know, was moved to X Series 21, to being on that undercard. It's a fantastic fight, Ben. Now, I really hope this happens. I hope they can come to agreement, because as we said before, this is the biggest risk that Fox the G is taking. But if he can beat Waleed Sharks, surely he's got to be put up there with the pound-for-pound best in that division. And if he can't, the thing is, okay, you lost against Waleed Sharks, someone who's been at the top of crossover boxing in the lightweight division for several years now. Like, I think this is house money for Fox the G. Win, lose, or draw, him getting in there against a guy like Waleed is massive. But for Waleed, this is a risky play. This is a massively risky play. You lose to a guy like Fox the G, and I think a lot of people are going to write Waleed off. They'll say, hey, this cat's been inactive, and now he's losing to guys that only have 2 fights, right? How ridiculous is that? So for Waleed, I think there is a lot of risk here in this one. We'll see what the veteran has in store. The pressure is on Waleed. However, I do believe Fox the G had some words to say, so here is his clip that he sent in to us.
Hello, Mr. Sharks. You and I get along very well, but you have something I want. It's not the hairdo, it's not the tattoos, it's not the abs, it's the love and respect of the Misfits community. And I've been trying to gain that for a long time, fighting all kinds of names, but none of them will bring that glory to the table quite like your head will. And for that very reason, today I'm going down and I'm getting my fishing license, and I'm looking to catch me a fucking shark. but only if you want to take the bait. So let me know, because the clock is ticking.
Well, it's great to hear from Fox. That fight really can be one of the fights of the night on that night. However, we got one of our favorites, one of the best co-hosts in the game, one of the best color commentators of the game, Roundhouse. He sent us in a little clip breaking down the Misfits 20 card. Ben, let's head to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the best thing about the X Series 20 card isn't just that it's Darren Till. It's not just that AT's finally getting the chance that he's always supposed to have. And he's going to probably be able to make the most of it in a way closer fight than you guys think it's going to be. But it's the fact that it's going to be in Manchester with all the crazy Manchester fans and all the amazing atmosphere that it's going to bring, as well as tons of unknowns, Misfits newcomers that we haven't seen before, and that always adds a ton of excitement. The thing is, though, if you don't tune in, if you're not there in person, if you can be, or watching online, then I'm actually going to personally go over to Ben Davis's house, and I'm gonna beat the crap out of him, all right? All right, I'm just going to beat the...
No! No! Oh man, the atomic elbow from Riley Roundhouse Osborne. I was gonna say, in that breakdown, he looked like he just abducted somebody. He looks like he has
He abducted you.
He might be on his way to abduct me. God, I hope not. Well, that's a further call to action. Make sure you buy your tickets if you're in the area, or flying in if you want to. Make sure you stream it on DAZN. It's not a pay-per-view anymore. It is for free. So for my safety, for my sanity, for my health, make sure you tune into X Series 20. And always the best to my man Roundhouse, Riley Osborne.
Last episode, we spoke about the Conor McGregor fight rumors against Logan Paul, and we actually received a tip from an anonymous source stating there are deep negotiations for the fight. Conor is interested, so is Logan. They are targeting April of next year. The UFC are involved and in talks. It is all moving in the right direction, claiming it is 80% likely to happen. Now, Ben, there's a couple things that interest me. April and the UFC.
Yeah, I think the big conversation here was that Dana White and the brass would have to be involved for this to occur, much like they were with the Floyd Mayweather fight, which is kind of funny because Dana has stated several times, I believe, that he would never do this again. This co-promotion, this boxing, endeavor just was not worth it to him. But it seems like, yeah, they might be locked and loaded to do it again. And April 2025, that's a lot sooner than I think most people would have guessed. But, again, the rights are up for the UFC. We don't know where they're going to be heading, whether it's back to ESPN, whether it's to Netflix. So maybe they wanted to do this, crossover boxing match earlier in the year to make sure that Conor McGregor could get one fight in the UFC before 2025 is done, to help bolster those negotiations. I'm not entirely sure, but BL, April's coming up. That's only 4 months away.
That would make absolute sense, especially when Dana has been hinting at this super fight that he's been creating. There's something new that no one is expecting. So is this fight, or is this Piera versus Hamzat? We don't know, but I would be excited to see it. And I do think it would bring some electrifying energy around the crossover space once again.
Considering Khamzat Chimaev is a middleweight and Alex Pereira is the light heavyweight champion, I don't anticipate that's the one that he's cooking up, but we shall see. I do want to state though, right? The anonymous source that we had said it's 80% likely to happen. As you guys know, I don't really like sitting here going, "Oh, it's an exclusive, it's an update, it's development," when it's just like, "Oh, it's a maybe."
It's a maybe.
80% likely to happen.
It's an 80% maybe.
So it's 4/5 done. That means 1/5, 1 in 5 times.
Which person's saying no? He's saying no at the table right now.
I'm not sure, but I just, for the viewers back home, just state and note and mark your calendars, right? That if it is going to happen, it might be in April, and it's 80%, but we'll see. Conor McGregor, Logan Paul, maybe there'll be more happening. All right, before I move on to our next topic, we recently just dropped the capsule collection for the new Misfits clothing range, so make sure to check it out in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to get access to our newest clothing range. Some great threads that you yourself can have, and we've now got a discount code, which is MFYouTube20. Make sure you type that in to get some money off your order so that you can show up to X Series 20 looking your best. Well, to wrap up the amazing year that was 2024, we wanted to give some acknowledgments for our best moments. We thought we could give them all to Narij Goyat, but unfortunately we decided it would be unfair, as obviously he was both the fighter of the year, got the fight of the year, performance of the year, so it just wouldn't be fair to include Narij. So, Biel, who are your Misfits News Best of the Year awards?
So I know everyone's very nervous right now, especially watching. This means a lot. Hearing it from Biel, I know. If you don't make it to the list, don't take it personally. So let me start off with the most improved fighter. This is going to sound biased, but I'm going to give it to Chase Damore. This is the man who I saw in his first fight against Bruckner look, quite frankly, horrific. Absolutely terrible. He then took some losses. He took some controversial win/stoppages, and then this year he's really made a comeback, and it looks like he has a promising Misfits future ahead of him. Moving on to the knockout of the year, I'm stuck between two. I'm really stuck between two. I am going to give it to Salt Pappy against King Kenny. Now, I was really close to giving it to Foxy G. However, that Salt Pappy one, especially after taking those couple losses and making that comeback against such a tough opponent of King Kenny, I had to give it to Salt Pappy. Now, fight of the year. This is a tough one to score because this is really just opinion at this point. So I am going to give it to the obvious Slim and Gibb. It was a fight that took 5 years in the making. We finally got it as the main event in Qatar, first time we've ever done it, and it was an absolute war. And I saw Gibb put on a fantastic performance, and Slim again made it those rounds. The first time we've ever done a fight this long, so I think it is worthy of fight of the year. Now, the fighter of the year. This person is watching this, I am sure, super nervous. Is it going to be you? Unfortunately, it is not Narij Goyat, but it is Lil Cray Cray. He took a very strange turn this year. He had a fight that was stopped midway. He was then eliminated from the tournament, came back, won the 2 fights back-to-back, and is now the current champion in the division. He has put on some of the best performances. He's gone against some of the toughest opponents, and he has come in late notice. Now, I really wanted to give this to Anthony Taylor, but for me, Lil Cray Cray is one of the best in the division right now. And to wrap things up, I'm going to give my Misfits card of the year to the Supercard. The Supercard has to get it for me after all those years of build up with Gibb and Slim. There were so many fun activations to do there and so many great fights, especially that one with Jarvis and Ben Williams. There were so many fun moments. The return of Wade as well. So I'm going to give it to the Supercard. Ben, let's head to your news awards.
I love it. Some great picks, Biel. Let's start off with most improved. I'm going to give it to none other than Super Salt Pappy. Now, Salt Pappy's 2023 started great with Josh Bruckner and that fantastic finish, but then we found the valleys of his crossover career against AT and then the TKO on the prime card to Slim. It looked like the train was off the tracks. It looked like Super Salt Pappy went from the guy to carry the torch to just another hype train that was derailed, but rattled off 3 wins this year, 3 finishes, one in his first main event over Amadeus Ferrari, who, gave him some really interesting challenges. But I think Salt showed newfound composure and retired him on the stool, then beat up the world's second greatest boxer in Dawood Savage, right behind Niraj, and ended the year with a much more emphatic, legit victory. That 3rd round stoppage over King Kenny, who, Biel says is the KO of the year. But for me, I take it to KO of the year. It's got to be Fox the G over Small Spartan J. Now, Jake was coming into that 4-0, I believe, undefeated crossover boxer. That was Fox the G's debut. And bing, boom, gets the KO of the year. First card of the year. That was in Leeds, Misfits and X Series 12, but I just don't think anything else topped it. I have commentated a lot of different knockouts in my broadcasting career. That was one of the most vicious. Jay was down for many minutes, needed the oxygen to get back onto his feet. And for Fox the G to announce himself in that fashion, the kid who grew up inside the crossover scene and to get a vicious finish, that's KO of the year for me. Fight of the year is a different conversation. I really enjoyed Slim versus Gibb, right? 8 rounds in the middleweight division, Gibb coming in, stealing the title. But for me, I just really liked the back and forth of a different fight that was on that same card, which was Nick Lamau versus Warren Spencer. For me, the mechanic coming in on short notice, taking on Nick Lamau, who had been just crushing through people following his setback to Ryan Taylor. It had all the makings of a firefight, and boy, was it, right? I think neither guy was as defensively responsible as maybe they should have. They were just all action, all offense. And there were many moments where Warren got stunned, many moments where Nick was stunned. I just really like the flow of that fight. And for Warren Spencer to come in, redeem himself in the way that he did was just fantastic. So I'm going to give that fight of the year. Absolutely loved it. Now, fighter of the year. This one goes to none other than Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor. Now, AT had a great 2023, right? Wins over Saul Poppy, wins over King Kenny, that redeemed himself from that January 2023 setback to Idris Virgo. But the problem in many fans' minds was that he was boring. He's a clinch fighter. This guy's hucking. Right? That's not boxing. Well, guess what he did in 2024? AT flipped the script and took out Samuel Erickson, who was a seasoned combat sports veteran making his Misfits debut, finished him inside 2 rounds, then went on to the #1 contender in his division, Gabe Silva, a guy I couldn't do anything against, and absolutely trounced him. It was a masterclass from AT that night, and one of the better stoppages of the year to defend the throne 2 times in 1 month, and now he gets a main event to kick off 2025. In just a couple weeks, we'll see the biggest and brightest moment for Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor, which to me solidifies and cements what was a truly fantastic campaign. Can't wait for it. Now, I do got to end on the card of the year. For me, the card of the year was Dublin. Danny Aarons versus Danny Simpson, a Premier League winner, a very revered YouTuber going at it 4 rounds for the main event. But that entire card was just ridiculously star-studded. You had HS Tiki Taki's debut. You had Prince Nassim Hamid's son, Sammy Hamid, putting on a masterclass over Jesse Clark. You had that Ben Williams-Warren Spencer controversial fight. It was heating up, and then it was unfortunately stopped. A couple cruiserweight tournament bids. Dean the Great taking out Dave Fogarty. What a finish that was for Dean the Great. Fantastic defense of his title. And then you had AT solidifying himself as the fighter of the year. And you had the debut of In the Thick of It, which I think that makes that the event of the year. That was the first time that song was ever heard. And boy, we saw what happened next. So my card of the year has got to be Dublin X Series 17. But man, what a fantastic 2024 it was, Biel. Well, 2024 was great, but we are committed to making 2025 even better. Thank you guys for all the support for Misfits News. We promise that over the next 12 months, we're going to take this even further. I've been your host, Ben the Bane Davis, for BL. We cannot wait for what X Series has in store for you. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.